just be me. So I was adding another book to the repertoire, but I see.
I'm so grateful to all of you for being here today on a holiday. Books never sleep. Sometimes
Oh
we
wait,
relax.
it's a holiday? Oh, sorry, I gotta
Gotta
go.
go.
I didn't realize. I was
Tom
close.
has to go jump in the pool.
Just that it was just that it was Monday.
Well, Julie was going to be here, but had a technology mishap and has no Wi-Fi right now. So it's
Or
just
she's at a
as
pool party drinking a margarita.
right.
Yeah, right.
With
Let's
no
hate
all
to cast,
Wi-Fi.
decide what we think is more logical.
I hate to cast aspersions on Jules, but I mean, it could be anything. We don't know. She could be
Nah,
sick.
she wouldn't have been shy about asking for the day.
That's true. Knowing that's right. Knowing the source.
Yeah.
But we have a beautifully complete, this is a good number here, 3 reps, a quorum. So let's get started. Gabe was here first, and Andrea second, Tom third. We'll see if anyone else happens to pop in, but this is great. I'm excited. A lot of good books coming out. Let's go.
Number one. Can we share the screen, please? Hit it.
Engage.
So my first book is Greg Iles, Southern Man. It's been 5 years since Greg Iles has written a novel. This is a Pen Cage novel. That is his most popular character. I think we tried to bring this in under 1,000 words, 1,000 pages. Greg writes a long book. We're just like, oh my God, how much is it? It's a dictionary. But I think we kept it to like 940 something. And so only like 700, 650 to 700,000 more words than the average novel. But this is probably Greg's last book. Greg has been very public about posting. He's been very sick. This book took a long time because he's been ill. And this may very well be the last novel we get from Greg, unless somebody finds something in a drawer. But it's been a good run. We've been publishing him for quite a while. And this takes place 15 years after his Natchez trilogy. So we're back to Natchez, we're back to familiar ground, but we move forward in time. And it's a political novel, it's a political thriller. We got a great quote from John Grisham there. He's always worth reading. He's not that big north of the Mason-Dixon line and west of the Mississippi for some reason. Warwick's has done well with Greg. He's a really good writer. And I put him at the forefront of authors who write these epic novels of these places that the place is a character in the book. And always a compelling topic. He's always on point. It's always something provocative. So if you have never read him, I would recommend you pick him up. You could start him in paperback. And then, after the 5 months after you've read that 900-page paperback, you can pick up the second one. But this goes on sale tomorrow.
Great.
That's a name from the past. We published Greg Iles
Long
20
time.
years ago, 25, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Didn't he have a Da Vinci Code-esque book at one point?
No, not Greg.
No? Okay.
Seems like they're all rooted in the South, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's pretty. Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, he sells amazing. I mean, astounding numbers in the South. Astounding numbers in the South.
Oh, it's neat. On his website, he groups his books, locked room thrillers, female protagonists, World War II thrillers, among other categories. It's cool. Yeah,
That's
nothing
prolific.
nothing wrong with a 1,000-page book if you have the time and the motivation. Cool, thank you.
Indeed.
Andrea, your turn.
Thanks. This is a completely different book here. The Promised Party, Carlo Basquiat and Me by Jennifer Clement. And she wrote Widow Basquiat a few years ago to much acclaim and, remarkable sales across the indie landscape. A lot of people love that book. And this is in keeping with her previous book, a very vivid carnivalesque memoir that spans from her early life in Mexico in the 1960s to the 80s New York downtown art scene, where she was often found hanging out with Basquiat. They were lovers. A lot of drugs were ingested, no doubt, during that period. This book is interesting in that it's split into two halves. So it follows her early life in Mexico, where she was neighbors with Frida Kahlo. Okay, I mean, this woman has led a charmed life. And so she's growing up next to Frida Kahlo, which right there, that could just be the book right there. But
Sure.
No, then suddenly we're in 1980s, the downtown art scene in New York City, and that whole crazy art, that whole scene there. And she can really write, so everything is just, larger than life, and the prose is great. She wrote a novel called Gun Love, and that was just recently. That was her latest novel, and that was a finalist for the National Book Award. So just to let you know, I mean, she's got the chops, nonfiction and fiction. Andrew Sean Greer really gave this an excellent little blurb. Clement has lived a life like no other and made of it a shimmering mosaic, a masterpiece, which is this book. With an artist's eye and a poet's pen, she has intimately detailed her journey between Mexico City and New York, along with all the magic and fame and ghosts and glitter of the age. Utterly spectacular on every page. I'm thunderstruck. Read it. So there you go. Read it. Just like Andrew Sean Greer says, it's it's just a whirlwind of a memoir, and I don't think you can go wrong by picking this up if you're interested in excellent writing or either two of those scenes, those milieus. So
I always remember, I think it was NPR. I think their headline was about Widow Basquiat. You must read this.
yeah,
For some reason,
Yeah.
that stays in my head.
yeah, just she's a master, and it's and so I think that this is going to have a long shelf life. Out in hardcover now, but when it goes into paperback, I think it's going to be on a lot of book club lists and that sort of thing.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's exciting. We're excited
Cool.
about it.
Thank you. All right, Tom.
All right. I've been gone for a couple of weeks, so I'm back. I'm catching up. So The Guncle Abroad came out last week, week before, by Stephen Rowley. So the sequel to The Guncle. So perfect summer reading. Main character, Patrick O'Hara, or Gay Uncle Patrick, as his niece and nephew call him, the Guncle, is called back into action when his brother-in-law is getting remarried, and the niece and nephew are not at all happy about it. So he's called in to the wedding is taking place in Lake Como, so it's in Italy, and he's supposed to take care of the niece and nephew, convince them that it's okay that the marriage happens. So he takes them all across Europe. They go to Paris, they go to different parts. And if the first book was about grieving, the new book is about love, finding love and accepting love in other people. Or when your parents are getting remarried, accepting that love. So Stephen Rowley is just a master of really hilarious, really endearing, really wise novels. And this is his most popular character. It's been The Guncle was his most successful book. So, and for summer reading, taking you to Europe, Lake Como, who could resist? The Guncle Abroad.
This is getting a lot of attention. I see out and
It
about. A
is.
lot of love from booksellers.
Yeah,
Everybody
booksellers.
loves the Guncle.
Yeah, and everybody loves Stephen Rowley too.
He's a
He's
very
on my
good
list.
friend of Warwick's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
he's
sounds
on my
fun.
list to pick up.
And I think it was Dan at Book Soup who I love this. I mean, he loves the books, but he was like, you know, and Gabe, you published Armistead Maupin, right? I mean, and this may be too early, but he was like, this could be like, we need something like this. We haven't had a Tales of the City from the city
Absolutely.
in a long
Yeah,
time, and this
absolutely.
could be, if the Adventures of the Guncle could be that.
Yeah, that's a really good
I love that idea.
comparison for sure.
Dan Graham.
Good old Dan.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sorry, I lost myself there in links for a second. We have a lot of activity in the chat. So let's see. Yay for the next Guncle book, says Darcy. And also a book near and dear to my heart, The Ministry of Time, is being talked about. I do have it close by here, and I'm glad other people are discovering it. I loved it a lot. So that's a book from Simon and Schuster. Shannon's not here today, but good stuff. Okay, Gabe, it's your turn again.
I'm going back. So I want to just throw out a quick recommend. It's not even a Harper book, but one of the most fun memoirs I read since we were on memoir, art memoir. This is a literary memoir by Joyce Johnson called Minor Characters. It takes place during the Beat generation. It's her life with Jack Kerouac. And it won a National Book Critics Circle Award. So it's a nice little, lovely little memoir that I think everybody will love. It's so well
That's
written.
like a minor classic that is not talked about enough.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if it's still in print. I hope it's still in print. But it is such a great little book. All right, enough of that. On to my books. Teddy Wayne. A lot of people have not heard of Teddy Wayne, and I mean, I can see why. It's hard to get attention for literary works, but he actually straddles that fence between literary and commercial. This I would call a literary thriller. It's got some noirish elements. It is a young man who gets involved in high society. He's working for the summer, trying to make ends meet, and he's offered a proposition by an older woman, a la Mrs. Robinson, and he is actually in love with another young woman that he works with, and then something goes terribly wrong. So there may be distant echoes to The Talented Mr. Ripley here. Definitely, Teddy Wayne is an author to watch and to read. His last book, Kapitoil, it's Kapitoil, was a paperback original we published 4 or 5 years ago. That skewers big business and the oil world and America. And he's pretty brilliant dude. He's a pretty brilliant writer, and there's a lot of nuance to his books, and there's a lot going on to his books. And he keeps it turning the pages. Kapitoil was very, very funny. Very good, some solid satire. This is a little different, but he keeps it turning the pages. So I'm really always happy to talk about Teddy Wayne. I wasn't sure what to expect after Kapitoil, but I think this is a really a good book for everyone. This book could have sold in the 80s. This book could have sold in the 90s. This book could have sold in the aughts. So it's really relevant.
That's great.
I have never heard of him. What is Kapitoil about?
It's to look at the America and the global oil world, and it's he skewers the existing reality of that world, and it is again quite funny, very breezily paced, but you're just every once in a while you're just like, ouch. You know, and hit somebody in the nose, and he does it really well. A smart, you know, he's a good writer. He's smart.
Sounds good. Thank you. I like the phrase "a la Mrs. Robinson." I need to use that more in just everyday conversation.
Dating yourself.
Sorry that I shared a little bit prematurely there. I thought we were
Let's go for it. Yeah.
moving on.
Moving right along, but not fast enough. I get it.
Sorry, Gabe.
Out the
Didn't
door,
mean to
man.
be that aggro. Deaths of Artists. This is from Blast Books, one of my favorite publishers that I've had the honor and privilege of representing for my 25 years in the biz. It's a husband and wife publishing team, and they do they have an idiosyncratic publishing program, and every one of their books is a passion project, basically. And sometimes they'll go 10 years without publishing anything. And then they find something they want to do a book on, and then they tirelessly put a gorgeous object and document into the world. And this one is no different. From the archives of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Jim Mosk is the current archivist at the Met. And for the 150th anniversary, he was digging up some stuff in the dustiest parts of the archives, and came across two just really thick scrapbooks, and they were packed with obituaries of artists, and they had it was full of clippings from newspapers, and then other sometimes actual like illustrations of the artist's work. And so there's artists, sculptor, all kind of artists, painters, sculptors, etc., and illustrators, photographers, some of them famous, some of them forgotten to the annals of time. And he's like, what is this? And then he started doing research, and they were compiled from 1906 to 1929 by a guy named, Arthur D'Hervely, who was an ex-con that was hired to guard the paintings. I'm really glad that back in the day, an ex-con could be hired as a guard at the Metropolitan Museum of Art with their priceless collection. It gives me hope for humankind. And he then moved through the ranks. He was an aspiring painter himself, but moved through the ranks and became assistant curator of the Met.
Oh,
This is so great, this story. And here are basically this book with texts, the foreword. Jim Mosk writes text, and there's a foreword by Robert Storr. And this is the story with like pictures of the original clippings of this is just a fascinating book to me. And for anybody who's into obituaries or art, this is a must-have, I think. And here you can see that there are some there's like illustrations too. And so I love this book. It came out in April, and I just haven't had the opportunity to talk about it. It's $40, 128 pages, but packed with illustrations. And Mary Roach, author of Stiff, The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers, loves this book, of course. And she says, surpassingly strange and utterly compelling, Deaths of Artists is one man's trip down another man's rabbit hole. The amassment of tales of artist demise is at once revealing of the cultural stereotyping of artists and a giddy salute to yellow journalism and lurid subgenre of obituary headline writing, impossible to set aside. So that's great. And then William Grimes, the obituary writer at the New York Times, loved it. Art lives forever, artists don't. But as Deaths of Artists shows in mesmerizing fashion, they often leave the scene with a flourish. For a surprising number of the great and not so great, Death turned out to be a masterpiece. Love it. So this book is something special. Run right down and get your copy at Warwick's.
And I love hearing about the publisher, the Passion Project.
Oh yeah, they're great. It's like, oh my God, like, like everybody gets excited when we find out, like we're looking, at like we hear in a launch meeting, or we're looking at the first drafts of Edelweiss, our catalogs, and it's like, oh my God, Last Book has something on this list. We all get excited. So
That's awesome.
yeah, they're great people. They're in their 70s, late 70s now, and they're just doing what they want.
That sounds incredible. I'm going to mention a book that I mention whenever I possibly can. That's actually a Harper book that I love from 2009 called The
The sixth one.
Deadbeat. The Deadbeat.
Yeah.
Lost Souls, Lucky Stiffs, and the Perverse Pleasures of Obituaries.
Oh yeah.
Johnson, Marilyn
It's-
Johnson. What's her last name? Yeah.
Yeah, really good. If you're into obituaries, it's such a
Yeah.
specific writing form and
Oh, yeah.
endlessly interesting.
That book was.
You don't want to
that
make a
book was-
mistake, you don't want to, and you don't want it to be boring. You want it to be vivid.
Right,
So
right.
I think it's a very important form of
Mhm,
journalism.
definitely. Thank you. That looks really good. Tom's turn.
Okay. So my next book is The Playbook, a story of theater, democracy, and the making of a culture war. So up here, this photograph on the cover is the production of Macbeth in Harlem with an all-black cast from about 1938, I think. And it was a sold-out performance, Orson Welles, John Houseman production. But the key was it was an all-black cast. And that was this came out of the Federal Theater Project, which was part of the WPA. So between 1935 and 1939, the Federal Theater Project staged over 1,000 productions in 29 states that were seen by 30. These productions were seen by 30 million Americans. 1 in 4 Americans saw these plays that were being produced all over the country and traveling all over the country. This version of Macbeth with an all-black cast went to places like Indianapolis and Texas, and not without controversy, obviously, when they're going to these places. But it was a time when the government looked to spread the word about art and to everywhere, not just cities, but rural America as well. So there's all these cases of these incredible productions that happened in this time. But of course, it didn't take long for politics to enter the situation, and we all recognize it from today. But it ended when Congress set up an Un-American Activities Committee, which the same committee which later became the House Un-American Activities Committee and in the McCarthy period. So it was really the beginning of all of that. But from this, so it's both a beautiful, idyllic, this moment when things could have been different and were different for a brief period of time, and then they come crashing down as we recognize what happened in the aftermath. So they were accused of being anti-American, pro-communist, all these things. So it's this, and he draws a line directly from that period and this theater project, and then the guy that set up the House committee to the McCarthy period, to Roy Cohn in the McCarthy period, to Donald Trump, which there's a direct line from one thing through all these things to we can say to January 6th. So this book is history, it's politics, it's theater history, but it's American history that sheds light on a period that we've all forgotten. And it's fantastic. James Shapiro is a leading Shakespearean scholar. His last book for Penguin Press was Shakespeare in a Divided America, which was one of the New York Times 10 best of the year. So this is out tomorrow, I think. We'll get amazing reviews, and hopefully, you know, we should all talk about this. This is something that was a real thing that we've all forgotten. Imagine if it hadn't been put, hadn't, you know, hadn't put a stop to it, who knows, theater and art would be much more parts of our lives than they are today. But for a brief period of time, it happened. So this will be a great, you know, Father's Day gift, and then going all through the summer into the fall.
Wow. That
It's a
sounds
crazy
incredible.
story. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew some of it, but a lot of it I didn't know.
Wow.
Yeah, this is really, it's going to get so much attention, you know, off the book page attention,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
And just the idea of this theater in Harlem with an all-black cast of Macbeth, and then that touring around the country is just mind-blowing.
Well, there's all these little brief shiny moments we have in our
Yeah.
time. Deborah and
Yeah.
I always refer. We were back in Seattle in 2015, and June 2015. It's a beautiful day in Seattle. We're eating cherries, walking down the street. The sidewalks are painted all different colors, the crosswalks. It's Pride Month. Marriage had been universally legalized. You can marry anybody you want to, like that day or the day before. And universal health care was the law of the land, had been reinforced by the Supreme Court. And there was just this optimism in the air in the middle of 2015. And you could just feel the vibrancy and the energy that was so positive. And 18 months later, it's just this darkness that descended upon America. And it happens like that. Similar moments. It's weird.
And you're right. There are always these moments that we've had, but they're quickly snuffed out.
Quickly snuffed out.
Shakespeare in a Divided America is a very good book, and I didn't know he was working on something new. So
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll get you this. Yeah, yeah.
Ah!
It's great.
Very excited. Thank you. More activity in the chat. So Beth is talking about her book stack. Up next, Annie Bot. I hope this finds you well. The Summer We Crossed Europe in the Rain by Ishiguro. So many good books. Yep. It's a lot. And Darcy says to Andrea, when I was purchasing A Good Life last week, there was another Europa book that is worth mentioning. Forgotten on a Sunday, a reprint. Now on my summer read list of Valerie Perrin's first book, Loved Freshwater for Flowers. Yes, I also loved Freshwater for Flowers, Darcy. Such a beautiful book. Like a quietly powerful, beautiful book. She's really good.
Yes. Europa has the market on Valerie Perrin titles in America, and we're happy about it. So great. I'm glad that you saw that. I'm glad that you're checking out all of the great wares from Europa. Thank you.
Lightning round.
Bam, mine's is very simple. Cut and Dry, A Long Haul by Frank Figliuzzi. We got a great quote from Don Winslow out there on the cover, and it is, I mean, I heard this number, it blew my mind, but apparently there was an initiative by the FBI. They started finding dead bodies all over the country of these forgotten women and ignored women, and it turns out after a lot of study and investigating Highway Serial Killings Initiative, looking for long haul serial killers. Something like 850 murders have been attributed to long haul truckers. Usually prostitutes are picked up at truck stops. They're raped in one place, killed at another, and then disposed of in another. So it makes them very hard to track. But very mind-boggling. It's a lot of people. It's a real regular thing. So check it out. True crime stuff is working right now. So, but this kind of frightening.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah. Not a book for me because I'm already scared of my own shadow, but I know tons of people who'd be super into that.
A lot of people will be interested, but that's Terrifying.
Ah, that's terrible. Woo! Yeah, our new book buyer, Mallory, might be into that. She is a true crime buff. As are a lot of people these days.
A true crime podcast rule the airwaves.
Yeah.
Goodness. Yeah, we all want to know what evil lurks in the hearts of men and women. So, Andrea, your turn.
For something completely different, I have a middle grade reader
Cool.
Really.
called Temple Alley Summer, and this is from the renowned Japanese children's writer Sachiko Kasuwaba. And there's a amazing the translation is really great, and it's just really nice that we finally have one of Kashiwaba's books in the English for kids to, like, really sink their teeth into a different culture. And this has been in hardcover for a long time. It came out in 2021, and it's just been selling like hotcakes. And so Yonder, the kids imprint from Restless Books, just decided to keep it going. And then it's like, no, let's we need to make it a little bit more accessible for everybody. So we're going to finally put it into paperback at a nice price of $12. And this won lots of awards in America. It was a winner of the 2022 Mildred L. Batchelder Award. That's a big one. The Junior Library Guild Gold Standard Selection. And then it was a July-August 2021 Kids Indie Next pick, which is nice. And, it's hard to get on the kids list for, like, the small publishers have a hard time getting on the kids list for Indie Next because there's just, the big guns that Gabe and Tom are representing. Those houses just they really dominate the kids bestsellers list. And so it's nice to see that this was on that list for the indies. And it's a fantasy. It's got fantastical elements, but it's also a mystery adventure. And it's got the living dead, ghosts abound, a magical pearl, and there's a nosy black cat named Kiriko that features throughout. And we've got some illustrations which really help round out this title. It's really great. It's got a lot going for it. And the indies who brought this in hardcover just really did well with it. And so we think this is going to be a bestseller for a long time in trade paper for the fine indie booksellers such as Warwick. So you know what to do if you've got somebody in your life, 8 to 13, 7 to 12, around there. This is the book for them.
And $12, am I wrong? That seems like a great price.
It's a really good price.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they brought it out finally. It was about $18, which is good in hardcover. But I'm glad that they brought it out in paperback. It just makes it a little bit more affordable for people. So
looks good. Great
Yeah.
illustrations. Nosy
Yeah,
black cat.
it's an in-house fave. We love this book, and I think it's going to do great in paper. So
Black cats are the nosiest cats.
yes, they're very smart too.
Mm-hmm. All right, Tom, bring us home.
Okay. My lightning round pick is Suzanne Rindell's Summer Fridays. Trade paperback original, out tomorrow. And now she's done mostly historical novels for us. So this is a complete change of pace. This is, it's historical in one way. It's 1999. So it takes us back all the way to 1999. And AOL, remember AOL? For those of us who remember AOL, it's the summer of '99, and a 20-something Sawyer is working in publishing, and she's going to get married to her college sweetheart. Meanwhile, her college sweetheart is off with another girl, at a colleague at work, and so Sawyer starts a friendship through email, whatever was that email, AOL, that kind of messaging was email, I guess, with the colleague, the work colleague that her boyfriend is spending a lot of time with. Her boyfriend, anyway, they start spending the summer together on their summer Fridays, when they're off in the afternoon on Fridays, exploring New York together. So they go to Staten Island for hot dogs, and the East Village, and Coney Island. So it's a really sweet romance. It's a lot of the tropes, obviously the classic tropes are here, but it's nostalgic for that time. And Summer Fridays means in publishing, that's a thing, for sure. So paperback, perfect for paperback original, perfect for summer reading. Suzanne Rindell's Summer Fridays. You've got mail for a new generation.
That was AOL. You've got mail.
Yeah, it was.
I need a fancy German compound word for the feeling
I knew
get
you were feeling
when-
it. What were you feeling?
when I hear books discussing things that happened in my youth as historical
I
fiction.
know. There must be a word for that.
For me, it's Schadenfreude.
Mm,
I wallow in your, enjoy your misery. I enjoy your misery because I've been there for a long time.
oh goodness. Okay, a couple more comments from the room here. Kim just finished fishing for little pike and is now working through Rabbitback Literature Society. I'm totally into Finnish weird. Yay. I think that's awesome. I'm so glad you're enjoying that genre. Andrea actually sent me a book called The Core of the Sun, which I would also recommend in that genre if you're enjoying the Finnish weird. It's very good.
Yeah. The Black Cat trade paperback original imprint from Grove has a lot of Finnish weird, and well, it extends to all of the Nordic weird. But it's really, people dig it. They are really into it.
Good stuff.
So.
And Beth, yes. Beth says maybe the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows has a name for the feeling I was feeling.
Yeah, right.
Hearing AOL chat rooms referred to as a historical phenomenon.
I apologize for sending you
Yeah, that did hurt.
there. It hurt me too.
I winced inside.
When I was young, the internet screamed when you entered it.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here today on a holiday, and thank you all in watching too. We had a pretty robust crowd today, so I really appreciate you all. I mean, book people never stop being book people, even when it's a barbecue and a drinking holiday. So thank you all, and thank you.
Hey, it was Mule Days here. It was the high holiday.
Oh yeah, tell us about Mule Days.
Yeah, Mule Days. Mule Days. We're Bishop is the mule capital of the world, and we have the longest non-motorized parade. So everything that gets hauled through the parade has to be hauled. You have to be on foot or on a mule or a horse or a donkey. So there's all these beautiful teams of mules and horses, and really beautiful 19th century wagons and that sort of thing. And it's good. It's good. And it is the high holidays. It really is. I mean, big time.
Do the same people come out each year to do with their
Yeah, a lot of times, yeah. And there's people, I mean, there's been people here, ranchers from South Africa that have come
Oh,
with their teams of mules
Wow.
and that sort of thing. And you know, probably, I don't know, about 15 years ago, 12 years ago, 15, the Budweiser Clydesdales came. That was great.
oh my God.
So yeah, yeah. It's cool.
Horse royalty.
Yep. Yeah. And there's, you know, the Spanish, there's a lot of people that bring the Spanish horses and those are some big horses too. They're beautiful, those black horses.
Oh,
And
the
the Lizards.
Lipizzaner ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
Well,
fancy.
there's some Spanish ones too. I
Mm.
sorry, I should know this. You know, there's gonna be people that are gonna give me heck about this.
Well, it's a
And
mule
I
day, it's not
haven't,
horse day, so.
yeah, it is mule days, yeah.
there's-
The mule teams are really beautiful though, that like the people that are doing, you know, have packing up in up in the high country, they come out with their mule teams and they have their packs on and everything, and they're just so kitted out and they're so beautiful.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It is.
Everyone, you should visit Bishop if you ever get the chance. It's a really neat place.
Indeed.
All right. Thanks everybody for being here, and we're going to sign off. Happy reading. Look for the email with all the titles in it tomorrow. And oh yeah, Beth wants to see pictures from Mule Days next
All
week.
right. Okay.
We
Thanks
all
all.
do.
Yeah.